Hi, in this video, I'm going to show you how to do ETL operation from Azure Storage Blob to Azure Synapse Analytics. As you see in this PPT depicts my demo. Here I'm going to show you how to extract the data present in the blob storage. As you know that Azure storage account blobs is meant to store the files like CSV files, JSON files like that. So here I'm going to focus on how to extract the data present in the CSV file which is present in Azure Storage Blobs to Azure Synapse Analytics with using the integrate feature of the Azure Synapse Analytics. Okay, so this will gonna be a kind of a ETL operation, the demo here. So here we're gonna show you like how to set up the Azure Storage account, then how to set up the Azure Synapse Analytics. Then in that Azure Synapse Analytics, how do we configure the integrate so that the data present in the the Azure Storage Blob gets extracted and stored in Azure Synapse Analytics. All right. So here the solution is very simple. So right, so how to integrate these two tools, and finally we're going to see that how the data can be extracted, transformed, and loaded into the Azure Synapse Analytics, which is acting as a enterprise grade data warehouse solution through which we will have the required insights can be returned from those the data which is loaded on Azure Synapse Analytics. All right, so with that note, let me take you to the my Azure subscription. So this is my Azure subscription. Currently I have created a storage account called demo storage account data analytics 0 something like that. Yeah, in this one I have created a container called some container, and in that container consider that you have a list of CSV file, and those list of CSV file contains the data of your business process. That data you want to store it in a data warehouse services like Azure Synapse Analytics, and then get a required insights and try to visualize into the dashboarding tools like BI and all. Yeah, that is Microsoft Power BI actually. Yeah. All right, so here so as you see, right, so these are the files. Basically, if I before I begin to this demo, let me show you what is that contains in these files. Okay, this is just an example file, that is order underscore data underscore part one. So this file contains some sample data. It has the the predefined column names, and the respective values will be stored in these files. Yeah, all those three files contains the same format of data. Now with the data, when these kind of data are present in the CSV file, it is very difficult to get the insights. Okay, that's the reason we have a tools like Azure Synapse Analytics, where if you can consolidate this data and store it in Azure Synapse Analytics, there you can get a required the insight with using the capabilities that Azure Synapse Analytics tool provides us. All right, so this is our source data. Now if I go back to the this design, so here our storage account blobs acting as a source, and here our destination is Azure Synapse Analytics. So for that case, I will take you to the another tab that is belongs to same my Azure subscription only. So in this one I have a pre-created Synapse workspace, the name like Synapse, basically test Synapse. If I open this one, so basically this is what the this is how it looks. You can try to create if you don't have subscription, if you want to follow this one. So I have already pre-created because creation of Synapse Analytics will take some time as well. All right, so now let's jump into the Synapse Studio. So once you have created the workspace, there is an option called Open Synapse Studio. So we're going to click on that. So once you click on that, the Synapse Azure Synapse Analytics workspace gets opened in the another tab. Yeah, so basically whatever you created is just a workspace. From the workspace, you're going to open the studio. So and that the Synapse Analytics Studio looks something like this. Now, so everything that we want to show, I want to show in this demo is we will be doing from this only studio, in the sense from this Synapse Analytics Studio only we will be doing A to Z configurations. Okay, so here let's first go to the yeah. So before I take you to the next steps one by one, I need to help you with the required prerequisites. So first prerequisite is go to the manage tab. So if you click on this one, there is a suitcase button, right? So if you click on that, that is a manage button basically. And in the analytics pools, in the SQL pools, you need to create a serverless pools, in the sense you need to create a dedicated pool in this subscription. Okay, by default, whenever you create a Synapse pool, with Synapse Analytics workspace, you will have a built-in pool which is serverless basically, and it does not gives you the major capabilities. And that's the reason even Microsoft suggests you to have your own dedicated pools for enterprise grade analytics workspaces or enterprise grade analytics tasks and all. Yeah. So how did I created this Cloud Quick Labs analytics dedicated analytics pool is, so how did I create is there is a button here called click on new. So here you can give a dedicated SQL pool name, something like this XYZ, and then you can you can actually slide this bar to set the performance level. You can explore more about like what is this the dedicated SQL pool names and all. As you slide up or down, you see that the estimated price is is being parallelly aligned with it. If I'm increasing, the cost of the this dedicated SQL pool is increasing, but if I go down, so the cost of this dedicated SQL pool is decreasing. Okay, note that this is very costly tool. So basically try to create the dedicated SQL pool according to your requirement or according to your budget, or you might end up with having a huge amount of dollar getting burnt here. Okay, all right, so in my case I have set it according to my need. Okay, so likewise you can slide it or set this performance level according to your need, and the rest all configurations you can keep it default, or you can configure it like using the existing data configurations, and the other configurations you can try to set up according to your need. So this is very simple configuration that you need to maintain underneath the the SQL pools, and click on a create. So the creation of this dedicated SQL pool will take nearby 5 minutes. Yeah, close to 5 minutes. So that's the reason you see my SQL pool is actually online now and it is running. Yeah, so there is also a button to explore as well, scale as well, and also to pause as well. So basically this is the prerequisite, that number one that you need to perform. Okay, once this has been performed, we will go to the data tab. So there is a data tab called something like this. Yeah, so in this data tab, if you can expand this one, the SQL database, so by default you will have whatever the the dedicated SQL pool that you created, so that will get listed here automatically. You don't need to do anything. Yeah, so even so if you refresh it, basically whatever the dedicated SQL pool that you created, nothing but, when you say dedicated SQL pool, is nothing but dedicated SQL database in general term. Yeah, so that will get automatically listed here. In that one we will have a multiple options like table, external resources, blah blah and all. In our case, since we need to copy the data from say like from the storage account blobs to Azure Synapse Analytics, so we need to have here we are doing a copy copy task, right? So for that case we need to create, or we need to have a prerequisite table on the Azure Synapse Analytics. All right, so for that case what I do is I'm going to create a table right away here by clicking on this option. So there is a button like new SQL scripts. Click on this one, and it will give the by default so by default table syntax, right? So in this syntax what I do is I'm going to insert those I have shown you, right? So this is my example data, right? And it has a dedicated columns as well, that as I explained earlier. Now we're gonna use those columns and try to create the try to create a table with these definitions. Okay, so what I do is I'm going to replace this with this like this. Yeah, and just to make sure that this demo goes green, what I do is I'm going to keep everything as varchar, but in your case you can change the definition or the schema of your table according to your needs. Yeah, so these are all my column names, and I have defined everything as a string and of varchar with definitions. Okay, and in that one distributions we will have an hash column name called, this is let me make the order ID as in my hash column name. So I'll just make this aligned. So I will change the column name to this one. Yeah, and then click on a run button. So basically it should create a table required for us. Here you go, the table looks to be created for us. If I go to the tables list and refresh it, so we will have a table name with a name called DBA table. So basically I just gave the name like DBA table. Let's explore how we can use it to for the data loader actually. Yeah, so if you can expand now, so you're going to see those columns as well. So if you see this, whatever I have defined here, that's the same column names being listed. You can try to run a SQL query like select top rows from this table. Right now it does not has anything, so you see that it returns 0 columns or 0 rows basically. Yeah, so this is the basically the prerequisite number 2 that you need to fulfill. Okay, so what is that we have did in a Azure Synapse Analytics is that we have created a dedicated pool. In that dedicated pool we created a table where I want to load the data from those raw or semi-structured data from those CSV file into this table. So for that case, I have created a dedicated table here. All right. So that's the number, basically number 2 prerequisite. Now let's go to the number 3 prerequisite. So I'm going to go to the again go to the manage option if you here. So this, we click on this suitcase button, that is our manage button. All right, underneath this we need to create a linked services. So what are those linked services, right? So let me tell you what are those linked services. Okay, so here the Azure Synapse Analytics needs a connection, basically a connections to this service called Azure Storage Blob, and connection to the to a service instance called Azure Synapse Analytics. In the sense, we have a two service. One is acting as a source, the other one is acting as a destination. So each side, it needs to have a connection, or it need to have a kind of authorization, so that this analytics tool or this integrating tool can go ahead and fetch the data and try to load it in the destination. Fetch from the source, load it to destination. So it needs an authentication, right? And that authentication setup can be done by using this linked services. For now, I have already created. Let me delete this basically. So I'm just gonna click on this delete. Yeah, and then so currently it is being deleted. So I will just delete, and I will let me recreate it in front of you so that you understand. So I'm deleting it in front of you basically, right? So for now we have deleted it. I'm gonna publish those changes. So just publish this for just for information. All right. So you can ignore this publish. I'm going to explain what is this implication of publishing. For now, let's focus on creating the linked services. First, let's create a linked services for our blob S3 bucket, basically for Azure. So if you go here, so let me come back again. Let me cancel. So here, if you click on a new, it will show you multiple options of creating the linked services. It does even support for AWS as well. But here in our case, we are interested on storage account. So let me select the Azure Blob Storage one. So I'm going to select that. And then here, you need to provide the proper name, say like, Azure Storage Blob, or say like, the blob, let me call it as a blob storage. Yeah. Blob storage link. Yeah, then here in the connections via integration, we will select the default options. In the authentication type, we're gonna choose the SaaS URI, because that is the immediate and best secure way to access the storage storage account. So let me go to the storage account. So this is our storage account. If I go back in this storage account, you go to the key SaaS, and that is SaaS shared access signature, and click on these resource type options. Okay, so what did I do is I'm in a storage account, which is acting as the source storage account where our blobs are being kept. And then I went to the SaaS, that is a shared access signature, and then I selected all these resource type. And then what I did is I have increased the time of the expiry of my my SaaS token to somewhere like 1 day. And then you click on a generate SaaS and connection strings. Okay, once you click on this one, if you drag down, you're gonna see those endpoints plus SaaS tokens. So you see that the connection string, SaaS token, blob service URL. You have a file connection SaaS URL. You have a table connections SaaS URL. Here in our case, we are using blob feature of the storage account, so we're gonna use this SaaS token here. So before that, you need to select the endpoint of your blob endpoint URL. That is nothing but a storage account URL, which is points to a blob service. Okay, so this is what it actually happens. You can do the same thing which I have shown you. I'm showing here. So click on this one and try to put this URL, which is acting as your SaaS URL, and then go back to the storage account, and there is an option called SaaS token. You can copy that SaaS token here and put it in this format. All right, and then test link link to the service. Okay, so let's, with this option, basically we are actually set the connections to our storage account. So let me do a test connections. So what I'm doing is, by providing these options, I'm trying to connect to the Azure Storage Blob. Okay, and you see that the connection is successful. Once the connection is successful, let's create this linked services underneath the Synapse Analytics. Right now it is creating. It will take a couple of seconds. Basically, you see that it got created. Now let's create a service connection for what? Service connection for self-service. That is nothing but Azure Synapse Analytics itself, right? So basically it needs a both, because we are doing a ETL operation. In the sense, we are extracting from the Azure Storage Blobs and putting into the Synapse Analytics. So it needs a two ways authentication. Okay, so in this case what I do is I'm going to create a one more service, the linked service connection. So basically in this one, let's choose the Azure Synapse Analytics, not the artifacts. Let's choose the Azure Synapse Analytics, and in this one let's give the, say, like Synapse Analytics. Okay, let me give as a Synapse Analytics. So this is our name, and underneath this, the connection integration runtime, let's keep it this, all right? And then underneath the account selection, we will choose the subscription, and then automatically it will populate the Synapse workspace, which is our workspace. And then underneath the dashboard, databases, as I showed you that with the database that we created, cloudquicklabs is the database getting selected, right? And then in the authentication, so basically in the authentication, right, so we're going to use the SQL authentication. So what is this SQL authentication is, when you create a Synapse Analytics workspace, it will ask you for the user ID and password, which is acting as the SQL admin user ID and password. All right. So basically, Azure Synapse Analytics workspace is nothing but in a backend, a big size, big size SQL database servers, basically. Yeah. So I'm going to copy this SQL admin username, which is acting as my SQL authentication username. So I'm going to copy that, and then the password is nothing but what is that password that you have given to this SQL admin user password. Okay, that you need to remember, and you can put the same password here. So if you have a doubts, you can try to create a Synapse workspace. In that one, it will ask you for the SQL admin username and password, that you need to take a note or store it in a key vault, and that should be used here. All right, and that is what I'm doing now. So I'm going to give my username and password. This is my super secret password actually. So I'm going to I have given the username and password. Let's do a same thing, that is a test connections. So basically what I'm doing is I'm also configuring the connectivity to the Azure Synapse Analytics workspace. Okay, so with this option I'm done from the destination connection side as well, or destination linked sides, linked services as well, right? So here if you see here, blob storage link, and we have a Synapse Analytics as well. Now we are done with the prerequisite number 3. All right, now let's go to the integrate. In the sense, let's go to the integrate, and we're going to do the whatever the things we required now we need to do. So basically this is the step number 4, right? So this is the step number 4, and very important step that you need to do, right? So here click on integrate, and there is a button called plus. Click on this one and click on a pipeline. So basically it will gonna create a pipeline for us. You can give a pipeline name which is meaningful name, say like blob 2. I will just call it as a blob 2 synopsis. So basically blob 2 synopsis, I'm just given the name. Yep. And then in this one, so you see that what is the activity this pipeline has to do. So in this activity, what is that I have promised you in the starting of the video is move and transfer, or basically copy. So you can just click on this UI and paste it in this the page. In the sense, just drag and drop. In the sense, select and drag and drop. Basically that's what you need to do to set up this the definition of this the pipeline. Okay, so with this let's go to the general definitions. Okay, so basically in the general definitions, what I do is I'm going to give the same same name like a blob blob 2 blob 2 synopsis. Yeah, so blob 2 synopsis is the name that I have given as a general name, and then the rest options you can keep it default, that is activate state equal to activated, timeout, retry, blah blah things, keep it default. Now let's go to the source. So as I said here, I was using the word like source and destination. Here in the integrate word they use source and sink, which is nothing but source and destination. So in the source, what is our source? This is our storage account, and which contains a blobs in the form of CSV files. Let's click on this, right? In this one, so let's okay, I'm going to cancel it because we already created a links. Okay, so I've just on. So here let's create the source, right? So to create a source, again we have to select the services. In the sense, there is a lots of services can act as a source for the this integrate pipeline, right? So in our case we are looking for S3, not S3, it's a storage account. So we are looking for storage accounts. So in that one we will choose a storage blob or Azure Blob Storage. So that is our source side. And in this one, what are all the kind of files that storage bucket has? Okay, so if I go back to my bucket, in this container I have a container called order. I'm going to go to the order. So in this order we have a CSV file. So you need to choose, when you have a CSV file, choose this CSV button. Okay, so and click on a continue. and then automatically it will ask you like give the LinkedIn. Okay, so basically this is the blob storage link bucket that we created. Okay, and here you can give a right name saying like CSV files, say like CSV files storage, right? And then in the linked services you should select the blob linked services. Okay, and then in the path, just click on this browse button and select this, and it should list you all the CSV file. It is listing, which means that connections are proper. Right, so with that options, basically you are done with the source configurations. Okay, just click on OK. You are done with this source one. Let's go to the sync side. What is the sync? Sync is basically the destination, that is nothing but our Synapse Analytics workspace. Yeah, so we click on a new again, and this time you search Synapse. So in the Synapse, select the Azure Synapse Analytics. So click on the Synapse workplace, basically Synapse Analytics workspace. Yeah, and then here give a meaningful name saying like a Azure Synapse Analytics. Yeah, and in the LinkedIn services, basically we created a linked service called Synapse Analytics. We're gonna choose that, and then automatically it will list a table. So if you remember, I created a table called dbo.table that is getting automatically listed, which is good sign as well. Okay, so with this option what you can do is you can click on the OK button. Basically it will also configure the required sync configurations. Okay, so if you see here, basically it is doing a copy method. Yeah, in the down the line, basically so here table options none, because I have already pre-created, because as I said, copy command always needs a table to be prerequisite, table to be pre already existed. Okay, or else you're going to have the pipeline errors. All right, so with that, let's go to the next configuration called mapping. In the mapping, so basically say like import schema. Click on import schema. Automatically it will map the source to sync the mappings. In the sense, if you go to the source, so what is there in the source, right? So in the source we have a CSV file with these headers, that is order ID, product ID, customer ID, product, state, amount, currency, stamp, and then the transaction date, right? All these are nothing but what? CSV acting as a headers, acting as a column name. So basically you see that is what automatically mapping has been happened, which is also I'm good with it. Okay, and then let's go to the settings. In the settings, I've just, let's keep it default, nothing to nothing to worry here, but if you'd like to explore, you can explore. In the user properties, we're going to keep it default. Okay, so with this options, what we do is we're going to done with the the blob to Synapse pipeline definition. So we're going to click on this button. Okay, so you see there is a slight error which will says that the direct copy to the Azure Synapse Analytics. So basically we are missing small configurations. That is something we need to basically update. Yeah, so what is that is, if you go to the source, in the source down the line, so basically if you go to the source or say like sync copy command, okay, so there is a small options, we need to edit it here basically. That is, click on this one, right? So here what is it throwing the error is, basically in the source definitions, it is actually complaining about the characters. In the sense, when you are selecting the code character as double quote, then we need to also select the same character as a escape character as well. That is what it is expecting. So let me choose that as well. Okay, so with this I'm gonna save this off. Basically we are done with it. Yeah, basically let me publish it off. Yeah, so with this option, you see right, we are done with the configuration. I'm going to publish it now. In the sense, earlier it was throwing me an error. What is this publishing button option here is, basically you are actually constructing the pipeline definitions. Once you are done with the pipeline definitions, you can commit it. Basically just like a how you write the code and then commit it, right? That is what equivalent to this. Okay, you see the publishing is committed, and the publish all button has gone, right? Which means that the definition of the pipeline has been established. That's what it was. It actually means. Yeah, so with that note, basically we have set the pipeline. Let's time let now the time has come to do the testing. Okay, so if you go to the pipeline here again, so I'm going to refresh it now. Yeah, and then when I refresh it, basically I'm going to show you that this pipeline will be there, because just now we did a definition, we created a definition of the pipeline, and the pipeline is being published. Now I just wanted to show you that that it will still exist when we do a refresh. In the sense, the definition is saved. Okay, so I wanted to make sure that there is no button like save. There was only button called publish all. I clicked on that and it got saved. That's what I wanted to prove by this. Yeah. All right. So now let me add a trigger. In the sense, click on this add trigger and click on the trigger now. Basically, what it happens is it will try to trigger the pipeline definition. In the sense, if you see here, there is a monitor as well. So if you let's go to the monitor button and click on a refresh, so you see that there will be a blob to synapses pipeline is in progress. Okay, so you can click on that and try to watch the activity. So it will take a couple of seconds, say maybe like 30 seconds, and then it should be done with the job. Okay, so basically what we have done is we have defined our source and definitions, and then we try to connect it with the mapping as well. And here you go, right? So it looks like pipeline has done the job, and that will be nice. Visualizations will also be shown by the pipeline, the job as well. So this pipeline job says that this is our Azure Blob Storage, and then this is our the destination, that is Azure Synapse Analytics, and both are so basically both are belongs to West Europe, and got the data got migrated. Okay, let's check if our database table got updated with the required data. Yeah. All right. So now if you go to the the monitors in the runs, you will see that this run got a successful. If you refresh it, you're going to see that that has been succeeded. You can ignore the other one. A blob to synapse is our pipeline name, and that got succeeded. Okay, you want to see the jobs, you can click on that and try to explore the jobs as well. Or you can go back to the so this is basically integrate is the place where you will actually define the pipeline definition and try to trigger. Monitor is nothing but this is the place where you will keep a watch on the what happened to that pipeline, how does that pipeline is performing. Okay, that activities, that data can be extracted from here. Now let's go to the data, and time has come to see the results. Okay, so for that case, what I do is I'm going to go to the table, and we had a table being created earlier. Now, and earlier when I did the select all, there were no data in it. Now let's do the select top 100 rows. Okay, so I'm just running that command and try to see that whether we have a data. Here you go. So basically looks like that it has still considered one row as an empty row, but which is okay. But it has actually uploaded the data that is needed to be uploaded from all the files. Okay, right now we are actually selecting only top 100. Maybe you can do the select star, which will actually select all the columns of the of the table. Yeah, so currently it looks like it is has the error. Basically I have looks like I missed the I missed the syntax. Yeah, but actually it has, what it has done is so the required things that we need to note here is actually, so whether the data present in the CSV got loaded or not. Okay, that was the main aim, and the main aim is already established. Okay, you see that everything data is been updated as expected. Yeah. All right. Okay, so with this option, basically what is the the advantage here is so here you have loaded the raw data into the structured data. In the sense, you have converted that raw data. In the sense, what you did is you extracted from the Azure Storage Blob, and then you refined it, and then you put it into the Azure Synapse Analytics. Nothing but you transformed and you loaded into the Synapse Analytics, where you can do a enterprise grade analytics on that particular data with using the tools like Power BI, or you can natively explore within the Azure Synapse Analytics blah blah thing you can do and get the required business values out of it. All right. So with that note, I have done with I have shown you the things need to be shown in this video. Finally, a kind request, please do subscribe my channel. That would really encourage me a lot. So with that note, thank you, thanks a lot, and see you in the next video.